All right, so in your last lesson, we talked about procedures and functions. What you need to be aware of is the difference between the two. So we're going to look at functions and procedures. Now, procedures themselves, when you're writing them in Python, the process with that is that they just carry out a single task. It might be that you call it just to say somebody's name. So I'm going to give you a prime example now. I'm going to say name equals input. What is your name? And that is stored into a variable called name, right? Remember, to create our function, all right, function and procedures, you declare them the same way. You use def, all right? But it's how we submit our value at the end that's different. So if I did def and I'm going to say showing name, all right? Def means define function. Now, what I want to do is pass in the name in there as a parameter. So functions and procedures both take in parameters. There's no difference there. Now, where the difference occurs is how, so we're going to say, let's go print, welcome to the program, and I'm going to use the variable that I've passed in. So if I called this name2, all right, that doesn't change, and I'll show you why in a minute. So I've got that plus name. Name is the value that you've created within the procedure / function, all right? When I call it though, so let me just show you. I'm going to move this up here. I'm going to call showing name, and I'm going to pass name2 into it. You notice that they're different. Yeah? It will still work. The reason for that is because that's the name of that's what name I'm giving the parameter. That's the name within that function / procedure, all right? In this case, this is a procedure because it doesn't return anything. So if I run this now, what is your name? Raymond. Welcome to the program, Raymond. So I've deliberately done that to confuse you a little bit, but also to clear up the fact that the variable here doesn't necessarily have to be the same as that. That is the variable you're passing around. Because if I had name there, all right, it can get a little bit confusing. So that is just the name local to the procedure. So I've got name here, or I'm going to say first name, and I'm passing the value of first name into that procedure as name. I could call it A. 1 second. I could call it A. But I wouldn't use A because it's not a valid variable name. All right. I could use B. I could use C. The reason why that is a procedure is because it does not return a value. All right. If you've got a question, it's fine because I can include it in this and you can watch it back later. Yeah. Okay. Then I'll recap on that. All right. So we've got here functions and procedures are a modular way of programming. Now, the modular way of programming is so much easier when you work as a team of developers because it means you can all work on the same program at the same time, but maybe you're working on this and another's working on another function or procedure. All right. Now, this here, simple procedure, because it does not return a value. It only does a list. All right. I'm going to show you another procedure now. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to do another procedure called, let's go, what shall we call it? Poem. All right. So we're going to define something called poem. I'm not even going to pass anything into this as a parameter. All right. Print, not even Christmas. House, not a creature. was stirring. What was it? Not even a mouse. Right. And then if I want to just call on that procedure to use it, I can just go poem, and that will run it. So that is a procedure. All right. The difference between a procedure and a function, all right, is that functions return a value. So this is where I'm going to do a video now. So just a reminder, what we're going to do this time though, is we're going to get some inputs. Let's get name equals input. I'll keep writing it here. What is your name? All right. Age equals input. What is your age? And let's go for animal equals input. What is your favorite animal? Now I'm going to use a function that gets 2 letters off the name. All right. So let's go for, I'm going to create my function up here. This function is called, let's go password again. Now I'm passing in 3 parameters here. I'm going to go, let's call this my name. All right. We're going to pass in my name as the first parameter, age, and animal. Right. You can still call them the same. Yes. Well, it's not technically before yet because it's not until I call the function that it's used. Yeah. So valid question. But now what I'm going to say there, because it's just good practice to have all your functions declared first. All right. So what we're going to have here is I'm going to generate a password for my program. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, part 1 equals, let's go, my name, 0. I'm going to use the first 2 letters, my name, 1. Do you remember that with string manipulation? Right. Part 2 equals, age. I don't really, I'm just going to pass that in. Part 3 equals animal. And I'm going to go -2. And what I'm going to do is all together equals part 1 plus part 2 plus part 3 dot upper. So I want that uppercase. All right. I'm going to return all together. Now this is what makes it different. This is a function because it returns a value. But if I then run this here and go password gen and pass in my parameters, my name, age, and animal, all right, that is not going to do anything. I'll explain why in a minute. So I'm going to put it, what is your name? Ray. What is your age? 36. What is your favorite animal? We're going to say dog. Why has it not done anything? I'm going to answer my own question here. Sorry. The reason it's not done anything is because when you return it, that function now becomes a value. So it becomes a variable, if you like. So what I can do here is password generated equals, so what the function returns is stored into a variable. So whatever the function returns is stored into a variable. Yes. Whatever is returned here would be here. So let me just show you, all right? Because in yesterday's lessons I did show this, so you've missed this. So if I go here, print password generated, all right, and run that. So Raymond 36 dog. You see, it's made RA36D. All right, change that again. -1, just so you. Oh, wonder what happened there. Raymond, 36, dog. Okay, so I'm doing a bit of string manipulation there. I have put some of that in the worksheet to remind you how to do that. All right. The other thing that you can do if you want to, I know that dog is going to have 3 letters. This is a bad way of doing it. I know that dog is going to have 3 letters in it. So if I wanted the last 2, I could go 1 plus animal 2, because remember where our index starts. But that's a bad way of doing it. Now, watch what happens here. If I returned Chambers here, right? So all of that code, it's going to completely ignore. And watch what's returned in the printout now. Completely ignored it because that's not what I returned. Does that help you understand that a bit better? Yeah, so whatever you return becomes the value of that function. It's like this being a draw, all right, and whatever it returns at the end is whatever it's storing. So you can almost visualize a function like a variable in that it is kind of like a storage container because whatever is returned is what it stores at the end of it. But we do this generally for mathematical equations, working out VAT, that sort of thing. Now I'm going to upload that video for you. So you've got that, all right? And I'm going to save that so that you can watch that on YouTube. But hopefully that helps you see the difference between the two. All right. Any questions that you can listen back to? Right.